I grew up in West Phoenix, you know, right around 41st Avenue, McDowell. You know what I mean? Went to Carl Hayden High School, Isaac Junior High, Mitchell Elementary, all that little area there, like West Side, like all the Chicano people were in that area at that time. Like we grew up, there was a bunch of Chicanos, and you know, the movement at the time was like laid back. And then as I was growing up, I grew up as like into different things. I never really was too much into the culture. I was always, you know, inspired by something else, you know, art-wise, artistic, music. Like, you know, my aunt used to listen to, my dear Virgil used to listen to funk and, you know, Zapp, Roger, all that craziness at Parliament, Funkadelic. So music was a big inspiration for me as an artist, you know what I mean? Just that mood it would set was, you know, was a happy, fun, you know, good time all the time. And until you know, the 80s, late 80s, when hip hop was introduced to me, that's when everything really switched for me. I was like, I got a glimpse of graffiti for the first time, and man, that set it off for me. That's when I knew that, you know, that's the style of art I wanted to do. When I started seeing b-boys on trains and different, whatever pictures we could find, going to libraries looking for anything that was documented, and it was maybe 3 books out at a time. You know, we used to go and just hunt for new styles and see it, because we weren't going to New York. It was none of that. Because I had a buddy come move from the Bronx, and he kind of turned me on to some new things. And then I met another cat from Brooklyn who was doing, you know, graffiti and canals out here. So it was always inspired by like a really East Coast vibe for me with hip hop. That's why a lot of my style is the way it is, like really hard, big, bold lines, you know, colorful things, and the attitude, you know, that comes along with the b-boy scene is always seen in my work. And you know, I've been more character driven as an artist. I've always liked drawing characters, and I wasn't really good on text. Well, I could paint text, I just always preferred to do characters and tell a story some way with something I was doing with using characters. So I kept that, you know, as, you know, something I would always do, because it was easier to just go run up and do a character somewhere when it was just, I was getting up, than it was to try to do a whole production, you know, letters when, you know, people didn't know who that was. But whenever you saw a character I was doing, then they knew it was like, oh, Bomb got another character, So that's how I did my, you know, that's how I was inspired, and that's what the direction I continue to go today is really character driven, as well as my murals and, you know, the diversity of, you know, when I'm painting, if it's acrylic, you know, there's always a character involved. It's somebody, it's something, and it all derived from that b-boy hip-hop movement back when I first saw graffiti. Now, I seen, you know, art play a role in our community and our culture when, you know, we started. I really didn't feel the power of what I was doing until like the Rodney King beating, and you know, and it was on the news, you know how it was crazy. And then I went out and I had access to a wall right next to my house that my neighbor used to let me paint all the time. Probably about like 9 feet high by like 50 feet long, and I did a piece and it said "No Justice," and it had a pig like with a billy club and just kind of a reference to, you know, what was going on at the time about the no justice, and there was little tags here and there throughout the whole piece. But once I did that and I got the response from the community, like people respected that, people were on board with that, because they felt it was like a way of us speaking out, like there's no justice. And that wall at the time, I had gang squad in my neighborhood all the time, and helicopters. My house was shot up like 2 or 3 times in the name of graffiti, you know, at that time. But you know, all the gangbanging and everything else that came along with it, that was something that, you know, impacted the community, and that was the first time I seen it. So anytime I've ever done a piece after that, I know the severity of whenever you're doing something that people are watching and you want to have a positive impact on, you know, what you're doing. So I don't try to paint negative situations. I try to do uplifting things and happiness and, you know, fun and joy, all that. You know, it was always the hip hop culture to me. It was just, hip hop was a huge influence, because if you saw a record cover or some kind of interview or whatever you saw on TV, you would see the graffiti in the background, and you're always looking for graffiti. And when I first saw, you know, Noe Baez, such one, you know, his piece on the south side over here, I remember, you know, that was the first person that really got me wanting to be like, oh, we can paint on walls that are visible. We don't gotta go hide in the alley and paint so things can't be seen. So he was a big, you know, influence for me. It's like what to do. And I remember when I saw that, I reached out and I had to go find him. I went and actually found him, and I took him to Long Walls. We went and had wings, and he tells that story, but it's crazy. It's like, you know, you get to meet genuine people through art because they're doing what they love to do, and you love doing the same thing. And to see that he was on the same wavelength as I was, I didn't think there was nobody else doing graffiti until, you know, I met Such, and then they just kind of, my boy Slick, rest in peace, and a few other cats that were in the graffiti that were from back east or LA or something. And you know, then when I found out my boys from LA were graffiti artists, then I started knowing that there was graffiti to be seen in LA. So we used to go take trips to LA, and whenever I had a chance, we would try to go find a spot where you could see it. But you know, it's always been just a few people, but it's just the culture in general. Hip hop has always been the provider of inspiration for me. Just know that it's never going to be the same. I mean, like, I like everybody has their style, you know, always can know that, but I don't like painting the same thing. I don't like, you know, sticking in one lane. I like, you know, inspiration is everywhere. It's, you know, sometimes you get inspired by people you meet or things you see, and, you know, I mean, you may want to paint something different, you know what I mean? I love seeing the different types of art, especially right now in Arizona, just in Phoenix alone, just the different artists in the community that are out there that are doing all different styles, and we're all trying to stay with each other, you know what I mean? And it shows in our work at some point, you know what I mean? We all want to stay original and all that, but when we're, you know, here in Arizona trying to work and do great things, like I follow a bunch of people on IG, and you know, I see a bunch of different artists all over the world, and I get inspired by them as well, just the direction they're going and how the new techniques, and people are going bigger and they're painting on containers, and you know, they're doing sides of buildings, and you know, I get inspired by all that. And it's just, there's so many different, you know, elements of creating for me that I don't just want to do, you know, acrylic. I don't just want to do oil. I don't just want to do spray paint. I don't just want to do metal sculpture. I don't just want to do sculpting itself. There's so many things I want to try that, you know, I mean, whatever I do, even if it's a one-off, if I try something for one time and then it comes out great and then I don't do it for a few years, but at least I made one. So, and then go back to that later. There's always new things to try to accomplish within, you know, different styles of art and different techniques, and always wanting to grow. So, you know, I feel like, you know, you paint what you want, do what you like, because if you're not doing that, then, you know, if you get an idea, your job as an artist or a creative person is to, you know, put that idea out, like show from your point of view the people like what you're thinking at the time. How do you, because we're all saying the same thing, but it's how do we portray it as an artist from our own perspective. I'm excited for 2019, got a lot going on. I just, you know, feel like timing is everything. I don't like to, you know, force any issues. I just wait for everything to fall into place, and it's kind of been doing that. So I'm just making a little more effort towards completing a few projects. But one of my main projects is I'm having a new art show called 80s Baby. It's gonna be, you know, a tribute to, you know, my style of graffiti, that early 80s hip hop, b-boy style of graffiti, and it's on a, you know, architectural substrates that, you know, make it real durable, more on my high-end stuff that I'm doing now. But that is gonna be the project that I'm working on. We're gonna have the show at an undisclosed location, and then, you know, once we get everything situated, we'll have a few shows and some performances. You know, we're gonna encompass the DJs, the b-boys, and then I'll provide, you know, the art element of it all, and then we're gonna have some MCs as well, you know, some guest people that'll come out and do some things. But it's all to benefit my new project is the Peace of Mind Foundation. The Peace of Mind Foundation is a foundation to help people in the financial contribution of burying their children. So we don't donate any money directly to an individual. We donate it to the funeral home or the agency of their choice that's going to do the burials, because a lot of people don't understand what goes into these things, and especially at a horrible time of losing a child, you know, the last thing you want to think about is a financial service. So we hopefully raise enough funds to be able to help. You know, my goal is 1,000 people at a full burial is, you know, you're around $10,000, so I want to raise $10 million. You know, that's what I got going on. You know, I mean, I got an acrylic series I want to start doing as well, and a small sculpture series that I want to start working on. But the goal for, you know, 2019 is to complete, you know, this new art style that I'm working on with the hip hop 80s Baby show, and, you know, promote the nonprofit. And then any funds I raise will be definitely to direct towards, you know, that nonprofit to help get the ball rolling. Yeah, I think a great set of words of wisdom for people struggling with their talent and not really know what they want to do is just keep painting. You know, if it's art, you know what I mean? If you're an artist and you're painting, then don't stop painting. You're just gonna get better. You know, if you do something repetitively, you know, put 1,000 hours into anything, you're gonna be great at it. So, you know, don't stop. You know, if it's music, don't stop creating music. Whatever you're creating as an artist, however you're letting that out of you to show this, you know, this universe, what you're capable of, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? As an artist, you have to dedicate yourself to let everybody see your perspective of things. You know, don't stop. Do more, do bigger things. Always top yourself. It's okay to be your worst critic, but let everybody see it and move on. Like I said, 80s baby, so I've always been involved in hip hop. And beginning of hip hop for me was like, it was, you know, battle rhyming and just MCs being MCs back at parties and, you know, just kind of saying what's on your mind. But there's always one I always, you know, I feel like if you're a lyricist, you got something to say. So I keep this one with me all the time. I like to recite this in the shower and everything else. But it's, let me see. You can never understand on the way I see. Old soul ain't no number for the age I be. Rose gold can't wear the Aztec in me. Energy, all good, and I got it for free. Bad vibes come close and they running from me. Sad sight, no joke, it's so funny to see. Vibrate at low levels, use a dummy to me. Meditated great life, now it's coming to be. Ha! I keep my thoughts on the low, sharing with the cholo in the light pink polo. Not Hawaiian, but I'm thinking about a moco. Tatted on my face and I'm off to outer space in this planet Earth. I swim through the drama, backstroke down the river with the school of piranha. Show love everywhere, man, I'm cool with my karma. Government need to face, man, I felt for Obama. It's the words we say that paved the way. Spent my whole night thinking how to save the day. Talking all that bullshit, I gotta scream Olay. Not the greatest, but I move like I'm Cassius Clay. Man, I float like a chronic high, I bust like a G. A-Bomb from Phoenix Ghetto, represent for AZ. Flow is crazy, the Lord has blessed me to give you all these verses. Now playing me with churches.
What? Yeah. Word.